Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. The heat is back in all of its oppression, and this gardener is taking it very, very hard. I wish I could do better, and I have done better in the past, but I just am really suffering through the heat, and that's all I get done is just watering. So far I have got it done though, and that's a good thing. I'm going to go back to these beautiful tall phlox blooms. Aren't they beautiful? So big and pretty. One of them will make a bouquet. And the pretty Texas star hibiscus is blooming away. If you can keep them watered, they don't even seem to mind the heat. The tiger lily is blooming. My little strawberry pot is filling out just a little bit more each week, and it still looks lovely. I was noticing the grasshoppers have been eating terribly on my maple plant. This is called a Abutilon, and it's called Tiger. And if the grasshoppers don't get it all and it blooms for you, I'll show you how beautiful it is, because it is a very beautiful little plant. Has a little hang down parachute type blooms, and actually I think this tiger one is my favorite because it's just kind of swirled colors of yellow and red together, and they just really shine. Have a little bit of that tall phlox here, which hasn't opened all the way up yet, but it will. Looking so good already. My elephant ears are beginning to open up. The caladiums, this is actually called black, but as you can see, it's a lot more green. It may turn a little more black as it gets older, though I'm not sure. I know that last year it did get pretty black and just beautiful shiny black leaves on it. Some of the celosia is beginning to put on their little plumes for the late summer and fall. This little Tyrinia is still doing well. Oh, look what we have right here. It'll probably jump out on you and scare you, but there's my little frog resident, one of them, because they love it that I water here. There's more of the caladiums. And I love this little air fern. And a work acquaintance actually gave me this, and it's done well for several years. This is that Alternanthera Purple Night. Has a pretty dark color. Look at this. Calabrachoa. We better look at this really close, because I've never been able to keep but one Calabrachoa all through this season, but oh, I would love to. They're so pretty. This is, of course, a little double Calabrachoa. This is a pretty blue salvia, but it's not really in full bloom right now, so it's not showing off for you the way it actually can do. But they're getting big. You can tell they're practically covering up whatever garden art is in their little pot with them. There's another caladium right there. I love this color, white and green together. It's just so refreshing. And I love that I can have hydrangeas. This is my first one to, well, I had one in the back that bloomed, but it was such a scraggly bloom. But this one looks so good. I'll be glad when I can have them just big and beautiful and prolific. I hope that happens. And then this is, of course, a pineapple lily, which I love it also. Last year, this beautiful white impatient just really took off and went. By the end of the season, it was just full and billowing and just so beautiful. And I hope it does that again this year. And it does look like it has a really wonderful start to be able to do that. And then beside it is the pink impatient with a coleus, and it looks like I need to put another one right there. I may have had something there that didn't make it, but I'll try to get that filled out when I can. It won't be soon because it's just too hot to try to start. I've thought about it, but it's just too hot. They would not live anyway, so I'm going to let these grow tall, big and tall and pretty, and then one day when we do have some rain and overcast skies, I'll try to get out here and get some of these empty spots filled. But you can tell this little pot, this one had died out, and I did replace it, and it is doing well. But also I did that on the day we had that, or maybe not the day, but shortly after, if not, when we had a little bit cooler weather and we got our rain. We actually only got one rain out of all those days that we had chances to get rain, but it was wonderful, so I'm not complaining, but I am ready for some more some more rain and some more refreshing. This little pot of Mexican heather is doing really well. I just love the purple and the turquoise together. It just seems to flow right along and look beautiful. So things are still doing well. Except for the gardener. I don't know why. I wish I could do better. I really, really do. I want to. In my heart, I want to do so much, and then I get out here and do a little, and I'm just so spent. It just takes it all out of me. And I got this little pot for my sister because she loves butterflies. It's a cloth pot, and I found this at Hobby Lobby, and so I'm trying that out for her. I don't know if they'll last really long, but I think it'll last long enough for her to get this started real good. This is Chinese dance cap, and it is so pretty. This little plant is. This is just getting started for her, but it will kind of leap over the sides and hang down. Just a minute and I'll show you. Let me come over here, maybe without going too fast that you can't really tell, but this is what it does. Like, this is how it just hang over right here and just keeps spilling down, and it'll continue to do this. And then also, whenever winter comes, they will curl up in a tight little ball and just look like, I don't know, like a dusting of powder. There's just nothing's there. I thought one of my pots was totally gone, but I went ahead and watered it just because I was watering everything else around it, and it just came back. The one in the back, I don't know if it missed a one of these little dunce caps from coming back. Some of them may have died, but so many of them lived and then kept filling out till you cannot tell that any one of them had died through the winter. So pretty. I hope she loves hers, and I do believe she will. And speaking of, this is the little pot she made for me last fall, and I took it inside, and I just, oh, how I wish I could do houseplants, but I just kill my houseplants. But look, there's one live one there, and I'm still hoping that some of these others will come out of it too. You can tell I did think, well, if nothing else comes up, I'll plant a couple of little seeds here. Actually, I probably planted more than a couple, but at least I had a couple that came up. And these are little zinnias, so I think they're the profusion zinnias, which I'm pretty sure that cactus will be able to grow up right with them. This little pot is looking good, but it does have a long way to go to look really good. But I think it could get there. These colors just look so pretty together. But when I take you around to this side, you can tell that it's kind of stunted. But these could come out of it too. There's still lots of time, even though the time will go fast. And things change so quickly, you don't even realize that they're growing, and then you come out and realize, wow, that changed. And also, while we're near it, let me show you my new pot. And of course, this is not the new one, but this one right here, this one fell off, and it had broken loose right where it was connected. But I got a new one, and it's small. It's really smaller than what I really wanted there. It's kind of hard to find a pot right now, but I kind of wish I got this over where you could see the little garden decor there a little better, but I still love it, so I'm proud of it, and it looks good. Sometimes it's just so hard to get up and get going. And sometimes I find myself just saying, I want so much. I do want so much. But a lot of this so much is just to be able to be happy, to have a purpose, to have something that I could do for the Lord that is something that's in my heart to do. And this is, I've always wanted to have a garden. Excuse me. I've always wanted to have a garden. I've always dreamed of. I never thought it would be a reality, though, so it's like I'm actually living my dream to have this. But like so many of our dreams, when we just don't realize how much it takes to do it, I knew that I'd be willing to do it no matter how much it took, and I know the Lord knew that about me. That's why He allowed me to go ahead and do my dream. As a matter of fact, He's the one that told me one time I was in the backyard, and He said, I was talking about having a backyard, and He said, you could make it beautiful. And I know He said those words to me, and at first I didn't do it. I just said, well, no, my husband doesn't want any more stuff back here for him to have to mow around, so I didn't really think about really doing it at that time. But things just began to kind of snowball, and pretty soon I began to do this with His blessing. And so look, more of the little asters, the little pretty purple asters are poking their heads up and shining for us today. And this purple is heliotrope. And even just out here doing this for you and getting the pictures, which this is totally my favorite part, because I get to look at them too and get up close to them and enjoy them. But even doing this, I'm sweating and I'm beginning to feel a little bit woozy from being out here in the heat. No longer than I've been out here and not doing anything physical. So when I really do, oh look, I wanted to show you. This is another place where a frog usually sits. Might be the same one. They just comes over here. I'm not sure. But this is my fan flower. Isn't it beautiful? I wish I could keep it all season. And then look what's happening right back here. I've got to spray for those grasshoppers, or throw some granules down, do something, because they're eating stuff up for me and I don't want that. I try to wait as long as I can before I use insecticides, but sometimes it just becomes necessary. This is that Nemesia, this pretty tiny little white with the yellow eye, and I love it too. I would just love to get a bunch of those things going and keep them going all season long. That's a dream of mine. Oh, and in my fairy garden, which I need to redo badly, but there's some more of that Chinese dunce cap, so you can see what it does and how pretty it is. This little girl is, of course, in memory of my niece Cassie, whom I think about a lot. I wish she were still here, but I know nobody would want to come back from heaven. And someday I'll see her again. Look how well these did. My little pots that had begonias in them. The begonias are not going to come back. I might as well face it, but I wish they would have. But anyway, I went ahead and put little clippings of coleus in them, and they are doing good. There's another one right here. So those two are doing great, and it just looks better to have something in them than just have an empty pot there. This little Schefflera plant that I brought out is doing great. When I first brought it out, it looked like it was dying, so scraggly, and it took it a while, but now it's responding to the elements that God puts out here, the rain, the sun. He knows just what they need. I'm trying to start a little hibiscus right here. I had some I think it's called Chartreuse Rose, and oh, it's maybe it may be my favorite of the annual hibiscus. It's just a double, and it kind of changes colors with the time of day, and it's just so beautiful. But anyway, mine died out, but I had a few little seeds. See, the allergies are getting to me. I can't even continue to talk. But anyway, I had a few little seeds, and I went ahead and tried it, but they have not come up yet. So, but I'm still hoping. Sometimes it takes a while for them to come up. I'm trying to keep it wet and hoping it'll spring forth. But when I think about wanting so much, I also think about the fact that the things I wanted, like before I lost my job, I still wanted, I don't know, a new bedroom suit, not to have the same old one that's been there since my dad and I got it for me when I was just starting out on my own, and we got it then at a garage sale. And I still have that one, but at this point in my life, it doesn't seem to matter so much. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I would want to give it up now that I've had it that long. So those are not really the things that I I really want so much, but I do want to still have a purpose in life, and I want to do something that my Heavenly Father will be proud of. And I do want validation. Everybody wants validation for what they're doing. But things like that are more the things I want now than just things. Although it would be nice to have a well that would pump something. I'm having such a struggle with my with sprinklers, with getting it watered. Look at this beautiful. I've got to take some little, when it gets cool enough, I got to take some pieces of this and get it started in more than one spot because I love it so. But I just wish I had a better way of watering. I've tried so many different things, and my husband, I think he thinks, well, yeah, but you're a woman. I'll get out there and help you out and we'll get it done, which he has helped me, but he's realizing that, yeah, you're right. It's just got little granules, little tiny granules of sand that just stop up the sprinklers. And all you're doing is going in and out, trying to wash the sand out of the sprinkler, which only lasts for a few minutes, and then you just haven't gotten anything done. You haven't gotten it watered. You're soaked with sweat. You're tired already from all that going on. And I actually tried this morning to turn my sprinkler on. And I put it up in this little pot so it would reach high enough to go over into my seed box. And I put it right here and turned it on, and it spewed out without going around and around. So one little spot was getting it, which is what happened, of course, to my picnic table, as I told you, and I still haven't got that set up yet. Oh, look. Isn't it wonderful, though, how they can lift your spirits even when you're thinking of sad or frustrating things, and you can see a beautiful bloom, and you're like, oh, look at this. So, oh, look at this. There is some, I thought this one maybe wouldn't gonna go ahead and put any little seeds up, but there are a few in there. Oh my, I've got to give this some water. It looks like it definitely needs a drink. And then look back here at this pretty lantana in bloom. Isn't that gorgeous? I need something there that'll just really play off those colors and bring it out even more. Although these pretty little Bells of Ireland are looking good there too. The ones in my seed box are turning brown and going to seed. Just a minute, see if I can get across over here where I can show you these. But see, these are, some of them are turning brown or yellow. They're dying, but they'll put down seed. These all came back from seed last year, and then when they're not in seed, they're this pretty green bells. And it looked so good last year with this the pretty green bells of Ireland with this purple knot, dark purple knot, and Alternanthera, and it was just such a pretty little showing. This year it seems like my purple knot didn't get out there and blend in with them all that well, but it's always worth a try. So pretty. I don't think I said anything about this, but this pretty copper plant. The colors are so gorgeous on it. Last year it was mostly just green, but this year it has just came along and came up on that. It was, remember when it was just tiny little dots of leaves, of the pretty colored leaves, that now they're all coming into their own and making a gorgeous plant. So I definitely want to do this. I do. But I also wish there was a little bit easier way to do it, because it gets so frustrating to spend all day out here in this heat trying to keep the garden alive. I see a bee over here on this bee balm. I'm going to see if I can get it for you. The bee balm is totally in full bloom now, and I think it looks so pretty with this yarrow. I think I may try to plant some of the yarrow in the back where I have my bee balm, so they can grow up there together like that. This little pot is filling out nicely. I just put some of these succulents in here with just down the sides, and it just made it looks so much fuller and prettier. I've been reading the Joni Eareckson story, which was popular very much so when I was a teen, and I had read it way back then, and I wanted to read it again. But the book that I got is not the same one. It's the same story, but not the same book. It's a little different, but it's still good. Or maybe it was partly because I was a teen when I read it, and it just seemed to be so much more impressive on me. But even this one is good, and it just lets you think about how important things are to us that we take for granted. We just take it for granted, and I'm so grateful. I'm actually grateful that we get to take it for granted, because, I even say that about my daughter when she was a teenager, taking her parents for granted some, which she didn't do it in anything awful way, but she did. But it's okay. It's fine. There should be a time when we get to take some things for granted. When I was in school, it feels like it was our history teacher, one teacher anyway, said, today we're going to talk about tools. Do you know what is the best tool ever made, what that is? And it turned out to be our hands. Our hands are the best tool ever made. And of course, you know who made those. God did. But they are, and that was the one thing that Joni was holding on to, even when she realized she was not going to be able to use her legs. She would be in a wheelchair, but she was holding on to, please let me use my hands, and that never happened for her. Gosh, just think about how much you use your hands. We are so lucky. We are. And we have so much. That's what I always say. I want so much. I say that a lot to myself and to the Lord, But He knows my heart. He knows what I mean by wanting so much. But, sometimes we just need to realize that we have so much. Just to be able to have our hands is a great deal. The ability to use them. The greatest tool ever made. But as I was reading Joni and realized that she never did learn to use, or never was able to use her arms, but she did learn to use them through the muscles in her back. And I don't even know if she had muscles in her back, but there were some muscles that she could throw and make it work to make her arms move, even though they weren't necessarily the movement she wanted, but it was something that would help her move her wheelchair, and every little thing she was grateful for. And that's the way we finally get, when we finally realize that we have a lot to be grateful for. guess I'm grateful I can come out I'm grateful I can come out into this heat and do a few things, even though it does cause some havoc on my body and it makes me tired and stressed. But I can do it through the grace and help of God. I can do it and have been and will continue as long as I can. And then whenever I can't, when I really can't do it anymore at all, I'll still have these pictures. I'll still have this record of having a beautiful garden. I love to watch it myself. I'm going to go inside after I get through doing this, if I can get some water going somewhere, and just watch one of them myself. I like to watch them before I put them on again, just to make sure that I've got everything semi-accurate, even though sometimes I slip up and call a plant a different name and don't even realize it until I watch it back later. So you'll just have to overlook that or point it out to me on the comments. So we'll go into the backyard a little bit and see if there's something back there I wanted to show you too. And then I've got to get in my, I'm actually out here in my robe and it's stuck to me with sweat already. We've been having this pretty little robin. If he doesn't fly away before I get him on here for you. But anyway, he's kind of taken residence in our backyard. Oh, and I didn't tell you that we did put up our little down under pot. We just put this up day before yesterday, so it really hasn't had a chance to do much but just hang there. But I think I'm gonna like it there. I don't know if I picked the right plants to go in it, but these were some that I found on sale at our local Walmart, and I love Walmart's nursery because they don't quit. They just keep going when all the nurseries are shut down, and you need something, you can still find one at Walmart. And if you're lucky, you can even find them on a closeout sale, which is what I did and what I love to do. And look at this. This is my favorite crepe myrtle. It's called Peppermint Lace. Oh, if only the weather were beautiful. Oh, how pretty it would be just to sit out here and just take it all in. But the weather is not beautiful today. It's so hot. I did put a little coleus right here the last time it was cool enough to try. And you can tell that it's got some bad spots on it that I need to take off of there. I might wait and clip that one off with the scissors so I don't take the whole thing off. But I think it's really going to add to this one once it grows up and becomes lovely. And I think actually that a lot of these things will do that very thing. It's just that right now it doesn't feel that way. But you know, fall is coming. It'll certainly be a while. But because it will be a while, there'll be a lot of changes going on in the garden. Here's some more of the tall phlox. This is a slightly paler pink than the one I was showing you earlier. You can tell this is the last little daylily on this one. They're all gone, but there are still daylilies in the garden, quite a few actually. And this is that St. John's wort, and it is beginning to lose its bloom, but it's still a pretty little green plant even when it's not in bloom. And those blooms are just so, I don't know how to say it, they're pretty, but they're just so different, so unique with that little fiber optic top on them. Also, I caught a possum. And I'm probably going to wait till my husband gets home to get him out of there, because, you know, sometimes I'm just like in the Bible when it says the tender and delicate woman, because I really don't want to mess with this thing. He's hissed at me a few times. I thought he might do it now, but he's not. He's probably getting tired of being in there, but Ronnie will be home soon. I actually grew up in the country between two boys, and I had a baby skunk for a pet for a little while until Daddy said we gotta let him go because he'll start spraying before too long. So actually, I guess I'm far from a tender and delicate woman, but I'm getting more so. I think my word for getting older and not being able to do things is fragile. I'm beginning to be a little bit on the fragile side. This is my Copper King hibiscus in bloom. Look, this calabachoa is still doing great. The one on the other side of it is still alive, but it's not doing so great. This pretty trailing periwinkle's looking good. This is one of the daylilies that I wanted to show you because it's a bigger daylily than the one I showed you earlier. There's also this color that usually this one is also semi-double, but these are single, but they're still very pretty. And this is the other little pot that I was telling you about. It looked like there was no life in this pot, but there was. All this beauty came right back. And I love how it does this little thing, how it trails down and then it comes out and puts out little teeny tiny ones all around, and they just keep clustering and keep coming, and they're just so pretty. This little tall phlox is actually a darker pink than the ones that really do well for me are the tall Laura phlox, and actually I've got one right over here. I'll show you just in a minute when we get to it. And it's not open all the way, but this is the color of it, and it is the one that just does the best for me and keeps on going and spreading. And I put it in several different places and at our church, and given starts away to my friends. This is the pretty Carolina ruffled hibiscus. Blooms bigger than your hand. This little calabachoa is still doing well, as is the little smaller one beside it there. It's still alive and flourishing. It's doing well. And this one's doing well, and it's got some pretty little pale verbena there to blend in with it. Wouldn't that be gorgeous if they would both just flourish and flow into each other the way I see it in my imagination? These are some of the native daylilies, and I put them in this pot to contain them because I've had to dig up at least a 5x5 area, 2 different 5x5 areas of these, and got rid of some of them because they will keep going and going and take totally over if you let them. They're pretty, so I wanted to save a few, but I don't want to ever have a job like that again to have to do. So also I remember a scripture that says something to the effect of, whatsoever your hands find to do, do it as unto the Lord. And so that's what my garden is about, actually. It's for me. It is, because I wanted to see all these flowers in real, not just in a catalog. I wanted to come out and be in an atmosphere of beauty. And it is, even though, like I said, the beauty comes along with all the other stuff too, the heat, and the fatigue, just actually being sick. I've just been sick from being out here in the heat and working so hard. But it's something that I wanted, and it's something I still enjoy. And I'm getting to share it with others, and hopefully I'm bringing some enjoyment to their lives too. And some people that can't get out in here, even not as much as I can, are going to be able to see this now. Even though they can't get outside, they can come via Garden Scroll right into the garden. This is one of my favorite garden art pieces. And isn't it just amazing? She sits out here in this heat all the time and still looks all this fresh. And my Dashandra is taking its trek downward, so pretty soon it'll be all the way down to the ground. It happens so slowly, and yet it happens. Love this stuff. It's so pretty. And the little tiny bud creeping out of the ground that I showed you, it was my castor bean. So it seems to be doing good, and we'll get to watch it grow tall and beautiful. There's my picnic table, still all messed up. But one day we'll find someone, and we'll be able to get a better foundation for it. For hopefully, I won't do that again. But that's going to take some effort too. And in this weather, it's not good weather to be doing something that hard and physical. How these little starts have grown since I showed you, and they will continue to, I'm pretty sure. I can't hardly wait for you to see how much they'll billow out and be so beautiful. And I see one of my Mandevilla blooms is blooming here, and I'll need to get it started up that little tomato cage trellis. But you know, in my dreams, I wake up and my house is all cleaned up, and I can walk outside in a beautiful weather garden where everything is just gorgeous, and I can just enjoy everything and go back in and sit down and read my book with the water running on everything that it needs to be. But alas, that is not the way, exactly the way it is. Oh, look at this beautiful zinnia, filling out like a ball zinnia. And you can tell that a lot of my screaming orange iris have finished up, but there's just a few more. You better take a good long look at this one though, because it won't be long before they're gone, till next year. And it looks like there's only one of these left to bloom, so these will soon be gone too. And I love these. They're big and bright and beautiful, and they have that spider daylily. They are a spider daylily, so have that beautiful fingers full out at you look. I did get a soaker hose around here to my dahlias. They needed it so much last year. They were just dry most all year long. I watered with the sprinkler, but it just didn't reach over here well, and they didn't do well. But I'm hoping that they will do much better this year, and I'll get you lots of pretty pictures of the dahlias. I haven't seen any caterpillars on the deal yet, but I'm almost sure that will still happen, and I'll get you some of them. And speaking of a pot filling out prettily, I had no idea this one would look this good. I was thinking about trying to put something else in there. It looks so flat, but I gave it some food and some water, and then God did the rest. But look at that, how it filled out so pretty. I just love it. And I have some celotias coming up here. Some are volunteer, and some maybe some I planted here. So I know that last year in this area I had a beautiful red coxcomb. So I'm hoping that some of this will end up being one of those. Uh-oh, this one is the last on this little stalk. The last of the blooms, the last of the buds, so it'll be the last of the blooms. And here is my bee balm, or this is Jacob Klein Monarda that I have in the back. And this is where I was telling you, I think I may plant some yarrow to grow in with this, because they bloom around the same time, at least part of the time. They would have two different colors together, and I think that would be pretty. That's another thing I would like, is time to sit back and plan and put things together that will be pretty when they come up together. But usually I'm just so busy by the time I get it in there. Well, that's the whole goal, is just to get something in there and get it going. But I doubt if I can get this, but oh, I hope she'll stay there. Look at this pretty little wren. Oh, she flew away. I just love the little wrens. I call them toy birds. That's what they look like little toy birds. And we noticed that, I may have put it on here once before already, but we do have cattails blooming. Or, I don't know if you call that a bloom, but we have cattails. And this little calabachoa is still going. Oh, that's wonderful. It's July. What is today, the 2nd or the 3rd? I think it's the 3rd. Yes, because tomorrow's the 4th on Saturday, and this. No, wait. Yeah, that's right. This is Friday. Okay, got to get it together there a little bit, but anyway. But you can tell it's still lacking up here where its actual base is, but it's got a few little bloom there too. Look how this pretty little trailing vinca has done. Oh, and I did put some little greenery in this pot too. And then look at this. So much pretty color. I thought about putting some seed in here, but I didn't. This filled it up nicely, and I thought I would just leave it like that. And I may want to put this little pot on here where you can see it, because I don't know, but this may become a beauty by the end of the season. A big pretty gladiola to bloom here. Oh, and this is another new pot. This little pot was getting so full that it needed to be thinned, and I thought I'm going to get a tall pot because this little plant will actually grow all the way down this pot to the ground and try to keep going. So, but it is beautiful. It is something. See how I put it on this rock? I think it needs to be put in a pot, and I think it needs to be put on concrete so that when it gets down to the bottom of its pot, it won't just put it down and keep going, because it can get invasive. I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. But it's so pretty. It's so pretty. We have to find ways to do it where we can still enjoy it. And then these pretty lilies here too. And I see I've got ants over here on this one. I'm going to have to go ahead and get some ant kill and put on this one little plant, because it's going to end up taking it down. And I don't want that. Oh, but first I better get this one for you. Isn't that pretty? And the purslane moss is looking good. It's part in shade and part in sun, so you probably can't tell just how pretty it is. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get that taken care of, and then I'm going to go inside and do the things I need to do inside. And first I'll probably try to get some water started, but try is probably the operative word there. But please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.